What? I don't want to get too far away because I've noticed that the hole is forming in my pants, so people might be in for a surprise.
Wait, like in your
Yeah.
You know, when no one has any need to look at it.
Might up the views.
You don't have your coffee today?
No, it's too hot for coffee. This book's starting to get a bubble in it. I guess I'm the first person to actually try to read this thing since.
I don't think I have reached 40, so.
Got to 36.
Okay.
36.
I am at like 33? So we're
Right
very
there.
close.
At one point, 4 years go by, but like there's no like
From one chapter to the other?
from one paragraph to the
Oh.
next. Like halfway through the story, it'll say some time goes by.
Then there's 4 years later.
Yeah, and it's just kind of so casual. And that's the one coming up too, where everyone gets a promotion. So once you think you got all the names down, you don't anymore. And
Okay.
I spent so much time just going back to that character list over and over.
It really helps. But then again, I sort of I don't remember who the heir apparent is now.
Every time there's a child's born, they basically become the new heir apparent or something. Reze?
Yes.
He's
the emperor though, isn't he?
Oh, maybe so.
Right?
Maybe he was the heir apparent and then he became the
Yes.
I don't know who the new heir. It's
So-
complicated.
Yes, it is. I mean, I think the list of characters is definitely what makes this book challenging, at least for me.
Yes, it makes it very challenging.
I mean, the writing starts to flow better, like once you figure out who is who.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's a weird story.
Like for instance, Tamakazura.
Yeah, I was about to mention her.
Her half brothers, I guess. Once they realized that she is their half sister, they sort of like backed off.
Right. But he raised her as his own daughter, and all she knew was that this was her father, and he's still like trying to hit on her, and it's weird. There's some weird.
Couldn't help but laugh out loud when she mentioned that he had a very strange way of being a father. Do you remember that part? I mean, I actually had to highlight it because it was so funny.
No, it's just like I don't. Like, why? It's a weird thing of trying to find more wives or whatever, and then them playing like sports or having drawing competitions. It's a weird. I don't know what it's supposed to. I don't know. What's weird is like going after, like getting a child and then raising it to be your future wife. That's weird.
Also, from what I understand, he just really can't help himself. I mean, they even mentioned that in here, that he just...
Yeah, well, you say that to the Me Too movement. I don't know. I don't know what to make of. I
just don't even know where it's headed.
just like a biography, really. Maybe more like a character study before there was... I mean, obviously there wasn't character studies at this point because it's the first novel. But I don't know. We'll get through it.
Yeah. For next month, we are going to try to finish it.
Finish it.
Just
be done with it.
Just knock it out.
But
Okay.
I did like the one scene where he finds the books, the little bound books,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean this was written in like 1000 AD, and he's like they just don't make them like they used to. I do like how when they're old, they're just like, okay, I'm no longer part of the world, and they just go live in the mountains, and like
Or become nuns and...
at one point, like the one character that did that. I think it's a little bit late. I don't think he got there yet. But he was like, I shouldn't be asking because I'm not supposed to care about the world, but how's my family doing? And I was like, I kind of like that, though.
I'm going to have to keep that in mind. Do that eventually.
Parts of the Arabian Nights was fun. You know what I mean? Like, some parts were, like, kind of heavy. And some parts felt like a religious textbook.
Mm-hmm. And some parts were just outright hilarious.
But, yeah, and that was fun. Like, in this one, it's just... It just... I
It
don't
just
know.
continues in the same vein, though, like from when it started. I mean, nothing
Yeah.
has really changed
Nothing.
except for their titles.
It's just their little escapades, but it's nothing really too engaging. It's neat that it's like the first novel. I can say that I read it, but I don't know if
Well, and this is probably one of the better and easier translations, I think.
that's what I've heard.
So he does a really good job of annotating things.
Like he really wants you to understand what's going on. It's just
I mean, even with that, some parts are still very confusing, just because they start bringing characters in who were never mentioned before,
right.
and then you really have to wrap your mind about what you read 200 pages earlier. I mean, it's okay. I think I'm ready to knock it out.
Just because it's the first novel doesn't mean it's like good.
I don't know. We might change our minds when we get there, and decide that it is the best.
I think that's fair. I don't have high hopes for it, but that could happen.
So yes, I mean, I guess at this particular point, I really don't know what else to say
It's a chore.
about it.
It almost feels like a chore. At least
I mean,
next time we can be like, we're done, and then just move on.
I mean, I think we will be glad to have read it, but I mean, it's not something that's really captivating.
Maybe to the people at the time. Maybe. But I mean, it's stuck around this long. Like, they're still making printed versions of it. Like, they're still coming out with new translations of it. In the Dutch house, they mention it.
You're kidding.
Really? They mention this, and they make a reference to the Arabian Nights. So it's culturally something. Because, I mean, Anne Patchett runs a bookstore.
Yeah.
Not just, so it's relevant some sort of way, because it's still getting brought up in modern,
but
contemporary literature.
Maybe it's something like, oh gosh, what's that book by Alexis de Tocqueville? Is it Democracy in America? I swear, I think it is the most quoted, least read book. And I'm wondering if it's like this.
Maybe it's just like a rite of passage if you're into like serious literature. Like, you get through Arabian Nights in this one, and no one can stop you. I do think it's really neat how they rely so much on Chinese and Korean things. I don't like how heavily it influences the people in the court. Like, they're always like in awe when it's like Chinese paper or certain like Korean. Like, I didn't realize it was so influential. I guess you're gonna glean some positives throughout, but as a whole, it's a struggle. It's homework.
So, I mean, it really is, because every time I sit down, it's like, oh. Once I get started, though, I'm fine. But just the idea of like sitting down and getting started. I mean, I'll find anything to distract me.
But I feel the same way. Like, you can coast with it for a little while, and then, but it's just
getting back to it. It is like homework in that respect. It's like, I don't want to do it right now, but then once you start, it's like, oh, it's not so bad.
It's not so bad. Like, nothing really happens. But it's not exciting or engaging in either way. But it's.
I do have to admit, though, some passages are quite beautiful.
Oh yeah, there's some lines that are quite fantastic, but
I mean, just overall, Do you have anything else to add?
No.
No, neither. I mean, I was even thinking last night, it's like, what can I actually say about this book at this particular time? I mean, it's nothing that I've added already.
I mean, part of the whole thing was just to see if we could do it.
Is this one of those? It's not the destination, but the journey, or something?
I think this one's definitely the destination. This one's not about the journey.
Oh,